there's still this significant gap between pledges and actions, exacerbated, as Danielle and I have just discussed, by the global situation. I mean, what do you think that this has done for the sustainable finance agenda? Have the events of the past year sort of undermined confidence, undermined credibility in it? And if so, how should we tackle this, particularly in Asia?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question, Michael, because it's quite complex. It's not very bipolar. That it has, if you look at the Ukraine-Russian crisis, the energy shortage, food insecurity, it's not just pushing the agenda one way or another. I think there are divergent forces that are at play. And I think making it more complicated, Asia is not homogeneous. Okay, so if you look at the simplistic term of global north versus global south, you've got both in Asia. Look at Pakistan recently. Okay, Pakistan is less than 2% of the global population, contribute less than 1% of the global emissions, but look at the hugely tragic price that they are paying, and we can see it all in front of our eyes. So I think what that has provoked policymakers, regulators, corporates, practitioners like ourselves sitting here, is that I think there need to be two things at play as twin engines to try to move this forward. One is establishing the common baseline of education, of learning, of awareness across executives, across stakeholders, across capital owners. Because without that common baseline of knowledge, it's going to be very hard to translate the pledges to actions, and will always be falling short. The second one, I believe that public and private funding do need to commit. We've heard some very insightful comments from the Monetary Authority here this morning. And I think both from the NGFS, the Network for Greening the Finance System, as well as from the regulator's perspective, there is a need to make sure that public and private capital are jointed in some way to make this work.
Helene, do you think there's enough recognition of these tensions among governments, among regulators, among investors? Or do you think that there need to be more sophisticated approaches to the very specific needs of poorer countries who are really struggling to balance the demands being made of them on the sustainability agenda with their very pressing social needs?
Yeah, there's no quick and easy answer to that one, unfortunately. I think it's part and parcel of the E, S, and G, if you look at it that way. E has taken a lot of limelight. People talk about investment opportunities in efficiency, energy transition. But the S and the G side, if unattended to or not well attended to, can really derail the whole agenda, because it's very ripe ingredients for unrest and all that. And to compound on top of that, to Abyd's point about brown spinning and greenwashing, what the two jointly produce is the perfect storm, actually, of a trust deficit. That basically investors don't know what to trust anymore. How green is green? There are 50 shades of green or brown and everything in between. So it becomes a very, very complicated, I think, situation. But I do believe that regulators are looking very seriously into that. More and more disclosure standards are being applied. It's not just a ticking the box exercise anymore. I don't believe that is happening. And I think whether people like it or not, that will be the shift that we all need to make. So I don't know whether that answered the question. There are no quick and easy answers, unfortunately. But I do see that a lot is converging to try to address that trust deficit issue. That, honestly, for me, it's at the root of derailing the agenda, almost.
Thank you.